Sorry about that. Hello, everyone. This is Melanie Lewis, Community Board 9. This particular meeting on this evening, I will be chairing as usual because I have served as the chair of the Education Committee for this past year. At this time, I'm a resident member of Community Board 9, and this meeting has been approved through the bylaws for me to be able to continue to serve in this capacity for this month. Greetings and welcome to those of you that are just joining us. We usually get ready to start about 7:05. So we just give a little grace period for those to join us. So thank you so much for being here, and we'll be starting shortly. Greetings, my name is Melanie Lewis, acting chair of Community Board 9 Education and Library Committee. We usually get started at 7:05, and as this is the last meeting and everyone is so excited about the summer and hot outside. I believe we have some folks that are coming in a bit later on tonight. So at this time, I'll just say greetings to our Community Board 9 staff. Who do we have with us tonight?
Hey, good evening, Melanie. It's just Khalid.
Hi, Khalid. Just Khalid.
Yeah, it's just me.
What do you mean, just Khalid? Khalid is in the house, and we appreciate you as usual for being here with us. And we've definitely appreciated your support over this year. I know you usually say it's your job, but you know what? We appreciate you, and I always feel it's important to let people know that they are appreciated. We appreciate the work that you do and the efforts that are put forth so that we can help serve in our communities. Many people on the board, we know, everyone's on the board are volunteers, so we've been working all day, and we want to still serve our community. So I'm grateful for the opportunity to have been able to serve and have supports to be able to do the things that we do. And I'd say the best is yet to come for the education committee. And hopefully we'll have members to chime on today. We know that we definitely sent out notices regarding today's meeting.
Yes, we did.
So this is a first for us, which is interesting. All year, we've definitely been able to have everyone on, and it's just that June syndrome. Like, yes, finally.
This is actually a pattern. Almost every year, most meetings, they either opt out for June or very low attendance because it's the last meeting, of the executive year. So
okay,
this is actually common or expected, at least for me.
Okay. I recall last year we were able to have a very productive end of year meeting for the Education and Library Committee, which actually helped us for this year. We knew some of the we've had a good relationship, like for the most part, we've been, that meeting was like a catalyst to help us to know, what it is that we wanted to do. And, we were pretty focused on being able to get some of those things done. And I'm grateful we were able to do that. And so, yes, there's a saying, better is the end of a thing. And, after we have put forth the work and after we have gone to the meetings and here we are in the last month and looking forward to our community fair on this Saturday.
Yes, indeed. It would be great too to for the members to come in and then get a solid head count on who will be participating. I mean, we do have the volunteers and such that have registered via the inquiry that we sent out. Oh, Melanie, for you. And so we'll be reaching out to the prospective volunteers tomorrow, just to make sure that, here's the run of show, here's where we're going to need people. So it would also be good to make sure that Education Library Committee members know what's going on as well.
Yes. Well, keeping with time is 7:09. So we'll see how it goes on tonight. I wouldn't want to end early and then folks are chiming on at 7:30 and 8 o'clock. But if that's what it'll be tonight.
Well, the thing is that even if anything, you can still, of course, review last minute logistics, and then we just send an email to the committee members, and hopefully they read it, and if they have any questions, they respond to the email, and that'll just be the next best thing we can do, of course.
Yes, certainly. That sounds like a plan. I will say, with it being 7:10 p.m., I will wait until 7:15, and then I'll go through because our meeting is being recorded and members can go back and look and community can go back and look. I can share what I can share. And then at some point we'll probably end it if no one joins us in the meeting.
It's at your discretion.
Yeah, so I will give 5 minutes,
Of course.
just to, since it's the end of year, this is
Yeah,
the last one.
right. Could also be traffic, and commute might be really bad with the weather, so people are taking a while to get home, et cetera, so forth. So, of course.
Yes,
So
yeah,
I'll be here. I'll be muted, but of course, just let me know if you have, if you need anything or.
okay.
Okay.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
No worries.
Alrighty. Greetings, Soul. Thanks so much for joining. We were given it one more minute to have our members join on tonight. It's a little more unusual just due to the fact that it's June, I suppose, and with so much happening, we just figured we would wait a little longer to start. So we're just going to start in another minute, and hopefully we'll have more members to join us. So thanks for being here.
Hey everybody, how are you doing? Sorry, I was a little bit behind and a lot of crunch time because this is pre-production for filming with the kids. So I'm like in a pre-production meeting and trying to help you guys. So it's a little challenging for me right now because that meeting isn't quite over yet, but I'm
Oh, wow.
yeah.
All right, Vice Chair, making it happen. Bless your bones.
Yeah. All right. Do you guys need anything you think from me tonight, or?
Well, as in any meeting, with this being the last meeting,
Yeah.
the intention was to review the year and add items to the calendar, that we would like to see for 2022 to 2023. So as many that could be here would be great, especially considering we've had 6 active members this year.
Gotcha. All right. Well, I'll be here. I'm on here.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
Okay.
Bye.
Okay. Thank you. All right, well, it's 7:15, and you know, since the meeting is being recorded, we'll just do as best as we can on this particular evening. Um, uh, I would just say that you know, the minutes were sent out for tonight, and I just want to welcome those that may be joining and on YouTube. Thank you so much for joining for our last committee meeting for education committee. It's very possible that this meeting on tonight may be abbreviated. So just a quick disclaimer. Just due to the different events in which you've already heard from through me and Khalid. So thank you so much for being with us. In our at our last meeting, the minutes were read over. I would say at this particular time, no official minutes have been presented as yet. So I would just give an overview of our some of our last minutes. Just so everybody can have some type of idea of what was shared, and we'll send out official minutes before the end of this month to make sure that that is on record and can be used by the next team going into the following year. Pamela Payne had actually read the minutes from April. Within the chairperson's report, it was shared that we had 97 attendees at the Jackie Robinson Day. Definitely talked about MEC Grow, which is an initiative from the Medgar Evers College, a new degree program that they have over at Medgar Evers College. We shared the fact that a letter of support was shared for the Brooklyn Public Library to you know, continuing creating and maintaining spaces and to be able to support the construction projects that would be going forth. You know, after the chairperson's report, there was an acknowledgement of, you know, all those that, you know, assisted excuse me, there was I'm sorry, there was open action items, and within the open action items, there was discussion regarding the book giveaway and the fact that those books would be given out on June 4th, which is the upcoming community fair. And there was talk about there being outreach to the Crown Heights Library, you know, to see if possibly we can, you know, like their table be next to ours since we're educational library. And we'll have updates on that in this meeting. There was the subcommittee that was formed to be able to support schools. Beverly was like the point person, and she suggested that, you know, all resources be shared towards the event on June 4th. But we had shared that, you know, for the most part, we would just be, you know, giving out the books and supporting the event as a whole. So that's where I end kind of in that overview of those minutes. But again, we'll get out, you know, those minutes before the end of the month to make sure that it's sent out to each committee member and just put out there for the next team to be able to have. So I just wanted to share that. Far as the chairperson's report, we were excited to be able to join the Ebbets Field Community Garden. They had a really nice little cleanup, and it was great because some of the same partners that were there from the schools that partnered for Jackie Robinson Day were there. And it was a really, you know, it was a really nice initiative to be able to be there. And you know, it was a great community effort, being able to see the children and the moms and dads and neighbors out, you know, all in the school community garden. I personally had never been in that garden doing anything, and I always passed by. So it was cool that that community project took place. And so that was exciting to be able to to be a part of that. I know different community members were there and able to participate in that community garden cleanup. And that actually happened on Saturday, May 14th. From 9 to 3, and it was the Ebbetsfield Community Garden. So that was really cool that we were able to, represent for that particular event. Let's see what else happened since then. Well, we know in our last conversations, we talked about the prom and graduation was a concern, for our our board. That's one of the last things that we were talking about, the fact that students that were, unvaccinated, whether it be, whatever reason, religious, medical, or even personal, they can go to school, but they weren't allowed to be able to go to their graduation or prom. And so what was amazing is that not too long after we had that meeting, it was put out there that indeed that had been lifted, for the graduations that would be taking place outside. And those graduations that were not being taken place inside of, so let me just start with the prom. So far as prom, if the prom was like indoors, then that was kind of like a stipulation depending upon where you were going to have it. But for the most part, if it was in a school, those students that were not those that were not vaccinated wouldn't be able to come. Ironically, in some cases, we saw that there were students that attended schools that had the event elsewhere. Wasn't a DOE event. Well, it wasn't a DOE venue, but because it was a DOE event, they also used the same policy to not allow those students to come. But once it was lifted by the mayor and everyone, then notices then went out saying that students can now come. At the end of the day, it was interesting. You just had to know specifically if a graduation was going to take place at a school and it was in a DOE building, that the guests would have to show their vaccinations. And, in some events, depending upon certain stipulations, one would just have to just know what the rule was, or pretty much those whose events were outside, they were safe. And those students that otherwise would not have been able to attend their prom or graduation, for the most part, they would be able to come. So there were still some stipulations around it, but for the most part, definitely more students were able to go to their prom and graduation. So that was exciting, considering all these students are in school every day. The same students are in school every day, but weren't going to be able to go to their prom and graduation, which was interesting. So I'm glad the DOE saw fit to lift that, especially since our entire committee was in agreement for it to be moved forward. And that happened because there were those that petitioned council members. And those council members also bringing it to the attention of our mayor's office. So we're thankful that that was put in place. So I wanted to give an update on that. Also in reference to absenteeism, I know that we were to represent at the district office with our superintendent Lindsay had invited me to go to a task force that they were having regarding absenteeism. And I know that's something that we had discussed within our committee, some suggestions that we would like to propose. And we, put out there for it to be reported back. So I guess at this time, I'll just ask Sol if you were able to indeed attend that and report, some of those things that we shared with the superintendent and the task force. So, all right, she may have stepped away. I understand.
I'm here.
Oh,
Okay. Go ahead. What was you saying?
I was, no, it's all right. I was talking about the school absenteeism and asking if
Yeah,
you were able to attend and share some of those
I
items
did.
that we're talking about. If you can,
Mhm.
if you can share more about that.
All right, yeah. So with the school absenteeism, I was there. There was a few schools there, and Superintendent Lindsay. So we talked about different strategies and things that schools can use. So around having people designated to making phone calls. So strategies, Mrs. Principal Rowe at 370 at Ebbetsfield
Mhm.
Middle School talks about having people during the morning, like being in the deli or the area where we know the kids go to in the morning and end up being late and stuff like that, that
Mm.
they have people who go around to make sure they're like, nope, nope, get to class, get to class, get to class. Making phone calls, having designated people to follow up with the kids and say, hey, where you going? What's going on? If they notice the kids falling off here and there, making sure that there's counselors, social workers, and people who keep up with them to find out, what the deal is, and then finding out like if there's particular issues going on within the household, what resources they may need to give the parents and families so that they can make sure that their kids come to school. So, they came up with quite a bit of stuff that, I definitely would say that that's how we do it, and designating counselors and mentors to keep on top of those kids with attendance problems. It's a major thing that needs to happen with kids who struggle with attendance. So it was a good meeting, and people shared, different principals shared what strategies they use that work for them. We talked about like just calling ACS work. They said, calling ACS usually actually creates more of a contentious relationship between the school and the parents, so they try to kind of use it as a last resort if necessary, and that they found that even if they do call ACS, it doesn't necessarily consistently improve attendance. So we talked about, well, the fact that it's relationships that really work in terms of improving kids' relationships. So it was a good meeting.
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you so much. So I appreciate you for being able to go and share some of the things that we talked about in the committee, and as well report back, how it went. And I know that, that's definitely, something that you were sharing as well, relationships. And I see that was a consensus. Were you saying that, so they, 335. So the school actually has, one of the schools has in place where someone goes to the deli, or that's one of the ideas?
Yeah, well, no, not an idea. That's what Miss Rowe, Principal Rowe, says she does that. Like she
Oh,
goes to the
wow.
delis that's right by the school, because I'm in the same area. There is delis,
Yes.
there's 2 delis right there. So she'll literally stand on that block.
Wow.
And make sure the kids keep going to school instead of stopping and being in the deli.
That is real community. I love that. That's that old school back in the day. I'm gonna stand right here. You get yourself in school. I love it.
And it's
love
right
it.
by the train station. So
Oh, that's perfect. Oh, that's great. See, this is community. This is what I'm talking about. I love that. Thank you for sharing that. That's so cool.
No problem.
So thank you. That is awesome. So, at this point, we know there's no acknowledgement of representatives and guests because it's us, and that's fine. We did an overview of May's minutes, if you will, and we'll be putting that out, and shared a bit of, just some updates from yours truly, chairperson's report. And as far as on the agenda, we have, far as open action items, we wanted to be able to do a year in review. I guess at this point, I would just say, on this particular year, we were able to, in some cases, maintain relationships and continue relationships that seem to have, we hadn't seen them in a little while, for, various reasons, and reestablish some relationships and create some. So that was really exciting. We know that our, we didn't really get started until about November, December of this particular in 2021. And so, hopefully the the committee will be able to, definitely move forward to start, in September. I know this is a year in review, but I know there's, some things behind it that, we might want to address. For example, if we're, okay, let me just focus on the year in review. So we started like November, December. We were able to engage community. We were able to have this CEC to join us. We were, from, our CEC 17, which was really great to reestablish that relationship with them. We appreciate them for sharing, the things that they're working on in the advocacy efforts. And there seemed to be, interest to make sure that we continue to be engaged with them, make sure that we're able to start attending more of their meetings and making sure we're inviting them to our meetings and keeping up to date with what's happening with them. So we want to definitely maintain a relationship with them, and we appreciate them for being with us. Also, we were able to have our superintendent with us, which was excellent. So being able to have that relationship with our community, our superintendent, and our District 17 office, that's vital. I mean, we're education and library committee, so that was excellent. And then speaking of the library, it was great, to be able to re-engage with the library. And it was wonderful that they had all 3 branches that cover our neighborhood present. That was absolutely, that was beautiful. So that's the Crown Heights Library, that's the Eastern Parkway Library branch, as well as the Crown Heights, Central Library, as well as the Eastern Parkway Library. And so that was excellent. And then, from that meeting, we were able to develop an even greater relationship with the Crown Heights branch, and they were able to be there with us and for us for the Jackie Robinson event, that we were able to have, so that moves us along to the Jackie Robinson event. And the fact that we were able to engage 97, people in attendance and make sure that we had that partnership, with, Exceed Upper Charter School, Ebbets Field Middle School, as well as the Jackie Robinson School. And it was a nice day. And, some of the things that, we learned having, an event is making sure, when you're planning an event, to make sure that you just start to work on it. And as you're working on it, you really plan it as if you're giving your family member a birthday party. And but it's or maybe a notable person. What are the things that you would have to put in place? How much will those certain things cost? Use the actual budget that we've been given from the office and make sure that it's then presented to the committee. So whoever the subcommittee is on any event that we're having. So one of the things we learned is to make sure that we have that budget form for each, we were told for each event that we do, to have that budget form. So making sure that we have that budget form for each event that is presented, and making sure that that budget is then approved and everybody's on the same page and what that's looking like. This way we can have make sure there's no confusion as to, little things that are even needed that day. If we need to get something from the store that day and nobody has to, kind of worry about having to go into their pocket for anything that's for an entire community. And we don't want anybody to feel taxed when you're already giving up your time and you're working hard and you're giving all your money. You love your community, but it's like, I gotta eat, so we want to be able to make sure we're doing that. So making sure that a budget but is filled out every time. And what you don't know, you don't know. Just like get a roundabout idea of how much you think something may cost. And if you all want to reach out to me next year, you're definitely still welcome to reach out to me. I'll still be accessible for you all to ask me questions, and I'll get to more of why I'm saying that, so just making sure that we have that budget and that's created, and all of that. And what else do we do? Well, I mean, I think those are great things. We develop, in some cases, maintain relationships, develop new partnerships. The Jackie Robinson event did happen. It was a really nice day in the community. We were able to follow up by still doing additional work in the community, helping to pull up weeds in the garden, great relationships with some of our principals. So it was a great year. And it's exciting that we'll also be doing the book, giveaway. We appreciate Demetria Farrell for continuing to make sure we had that partnership and that sponsorship from Book Fairies. We appreciate them for being a consistent sponsor so that we can give, books to the students in our community. And so June 4th is coming up, which will be the very last, thing that we'll be doing on this year. So that's like a year in review, if you will. When we talk about like 2022 to 2023 calendar items, I would just, suggest that the partnerships that we created continue to be maintained. If we're looking at September through June, and we want to remember even the year before, we had from the Department of Education, those that work in they were the department that works in the specialized high schools. So it was the specialized high schools team that spoke of like September being a good time to have them come and speak about the specialized high schools. So that's something to consider regarding maybe October, September, like October, November, December, September, of course, is also a time of making sure, that all of those partners are made aware of when the meeting is going to take place, so that if they have anything to be able to share, that they're able to share it during that September meeting. Making sure that just some of us that are even parents are sharing, and spreading the word about the education committee within our community, so that more parents can maybe show up and other leaders in education to be able to show up, and as the year develops, being able to have certain things on a calendar, kind of helps, for the year. And so I'm intentionally going over these things, and we know it's being recorded because I want there to be some type of map for those that come after us. I want there to be some type of format that can be used for those that go forward. Everything doesn't always necessarily have to be from total scratch. If there's some type of idea of what one wants to do, it can be helpful for the future. So, like I said, September, making sure that those different partners get an email. So emailing CEC and Community District 17 and the library, and making sure that there's maybe representation, as well as any events that they have coming up. And those events can then be shared at that September meeting. And it's from there that you're able to build. Okay, well, the district is having this on this day. CEC is having this on this day. This particular school is doing that. There can always be a partnership. with those entities and Community Board 9 Education and Library Committee. And then a calendar can be built from there. So again, we don't have, too many members on today, but we definitely wanted to be able to just kind of talk about that and how that can be done for the upcoming school year. We know that we had a subcommittee, and that subcommittee, well, it was a subcommittee to support the schools, and I know that was something that, I don't know if that's something that potentially, if Beverly's still on the committee, if she would like to continue, or if you all would like to continue to have that initiative to do something specific to support the schools, remembering that that's a committee. And so, a subcommittee within, our, the education team. So, unfortunately, with this being the last meeting and, everybody's not necessarily on, their, we're not really able to put forth, what 2022 to 2023 calendar items might potentially look like for each month, because just by planting something each month, it's something to look to do. I know that, potentially a spring book giveaway, potentially a summer book giveaway. We know that the Jackie Robinson Day would actually fall on a Saturday in 2023, which is perfect. And it's actually his day, April 15th. Excuse me. The idea was to have Jackie Robinson Day be the premier event of the education committee in our community, creating that legacy each year in partnership with the schools and the community, intentionally through the community board, because we want to make sure it continues to be a community event. And we acknowledge the heroes and sheroes in our community. So I will just, I'll digress. I definitely want to open it if you all have anything to share, or you would like to say at this time, because I've said a lot. All right. Well, I will say that it has been 2 years that I have served our community board, the first year as a committee member, and sometimes acting as a vice chair, though not formally being a vice chair, with Real. And at his departure for some time, I was promoted and requested to serve, as chair of education and library that following year. And so here we are. And, it's been a time of learning and growth and building. And, we were able to get some things done, so I'm glad about that. And I'm actually going to be pursuing, my own continued educational pursuits. And for that reason, I did not apply to continue to serve on the board. But I'll continue to, keep abreast of the things that's happening. Like I said, if you all have any questions about anything, let me know. Because of the bylaws and the fact that I had served, I was made, a chair that would be able to make sure that I can continue to serve in this capacity and assist, this particular month. So we'll see how things progress, or how things will transition, as we, the committee moves into September. But I would definitely encourage you all that will be on education committee to be proactive about what you want to see, and don't wait until September. Don't wait to have your idea of what you want. Look back at the minutes, look back at meetings that have occurred before, so that you can know how you might be able to move forward. Before the meeting in September, just know that, if you're serving as a chair of the committee, that, you're going to be going to the executive committee meetings, you'll be going to the general meetings, and you're chair of this committee. So those are 3 different components of your role. And whoever your vice chair is, they actually should be at those events too. Or you all can switch off. The treasurer, we, want to make sure the treasurer is keeping in what's coming in and what's coming out, and making sure those budgets are being prepared for each event. So you're all set. Making sure that the secretary is indeed preparing the minutes and sharing them out, and making sure that, the agenda is, submitted, to the board so that it can come out. So again, I'm being intentional with this information that's being shared. I'm really about making sure when you're leaving one place, that if you can, that you do leave in a manner that you can leave something for the people that come after you, so that they can have something to work off. But you do have the board, you have Khalid, you have Mia, you have Dante, you have Chair Fred Baptiste, you have a board that is there, and you have these video recordings to be able to assist you, and you have whatever background that you're bringing to the table as members of the board. At this time, I would think we have no new business. And that any reports to the executive committee or full board, or just what's transpired today, the fact that we did not have our full committee here today, but we continued on for the record, so that there is something, for the following team that comes afterwards to be able to have in place. And so if no one else has anything to say, bless your heart, soul. I would say that this meeting is adjourned. Thank you for your patience and your time and your assistance, Khalid. I appreciate you, and I wish for you a great summer. I know we're going to see each other on Saturday, or, so, but still, I'm, like I said, I'm about, I'm giving thanks. So see you on Saturday.
Yeah. All right, thank you. I'm sorry I was in and out because I'm trying to run 2 meetings, but I was listening half the time. But I appreciate you guys for all of you doing, and the information that you shared with us today was really good. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Soul.
Okay.
Well, it's 7:58. Y'all have a great evening and enjoy your summer, and all the best to our community. Peace,
All right.
love, and BK.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
Good night. Have a good evening. See
Thank
you all this Saturday.